guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's explained episode, we're talking all about washing rice. I'm gonna share with you the reason why you should wash your rice most of the time and how to properly wash it. Also, the reason why some people don't like to wash their rice, as well as the most important topic, the heavy metal arsenic in rice and how to avoid it. Check it out. Hi new friend, this is Erica right here. I'm a Taiwanese citizen currently living in America. Cooking and traveling are my passions, so I'm here to share with you my favorite Asian recipes. On each explained episode, I will pick one topic, either as an ingredient, sauce, a dish, or a cuisine, and explain all about it in detail to you. So if that interests you, please subscribe and keep watching. Taiwanese people love rice, just like all Chinese. For example, I eat rice at least 4 times a week while I'm living in the US, and while I was living in Taiwan, I eat rice almost every single day. Growing up watching my mom and grandma cook, washing rice is the most basic step every night. The first time I saw someone here in the US eating unwashed rice, I was so grossed out. Cause I remember when I was young, my mom would always show me what she washed out of the rice. It could be bugs and some unidentical stuff. So ew, what the hell? At that moment, I confronted my friend and said, you should definitely wash your rice before cooking. You don't know what's in there. And then she showed me the packaging. It literally say no washed rice on it. So that did make me feel a little bit better at the moment. And that also raised the question of why? Why is American rice cleaner? Or do they just don't care about the dust and bugs inside the rice? And that also made me think, is it really necessary to wash my rice? There's a lot of factors for this answer, but I'm gonna give you the conclusion first. It really depends. Such as what type of rice are you buying? Where does it come from? How old is the rice? How is it packaged? And also, how are you prepared to cook them? Before we look at all these little detail factors, we have to understand what is rice first. Rice is a replaceable ingredient in many cuisine and can be prepared in a lot of different ways. In a 2019 research, more than 3.5 billion of people in the world depends on rice for more than 20% of their daily calorie intake. That's almost half of the world population. Rice is popular in places such as East Asia, South Asia, the Middle East, West Africa, Mediterranean, Latin America, and even here in the US. And moving from a Chinese culture country into a melting pot like US, I've seen people arguing about rice all the freaking time. But to learn exactly why we're washing our rice in Asia, we'll have to learn about the structure of the rice and how it's made first. A rice kernel has 4 major components: hull, bran, endosperm, and germ. Hull is the outside part of the rice. It is a coating of the grains that protects the seed during the growing season. Bran is the next layer that's brown and contains a lot of starch, protein, vitamins, and minerals. Inside the bran is the endosperm, which is full of carbs, and the germ is the seed of the plant. Now you know what the right rice look like. Let's take a look at the production process. A rice growing cycle is around 150 days in general. The machinery will strip it from the stalk and suction out some empty husk. After that, trucks will transfer the rice to a warehouse to lower its moisture content before processing. Then the rice will go through several sifters to get rid of all the stalks, mud balls, bugs, and any weed seeds. But to transfer it into a brown rice or white rice, we still need a few more steps. In a huge machine, the rice will fall through 2 rollers that are moving at a different speed. This will shear off the husk and separate them into another suction machine by weight. And the rice we got right here is the brown rice. It can either be sold as it, or it can move on to the next process and make it into white rice. The next step, the rice will go through the grinding mill to remove the bran and germ. That the rice will turn from brown to white during this process. After that, the rice will be polished, perhaps fortified, and then packaged. So now we know our ingredient and how is it produced. We can finally get to the point of why you should or shouldn't wash your white rice. Let's start with the reason why you should wash your white rice. In most East Asia countries, washing rice is without a doubt a must. That is because we have been eating rice since the beginning of time. Quick little trivia, 4 yellow grains of rice were discovered in Hunan, China, that's dated back in 10,000 BC, and is known to be the earliest rice in the world. Yeah, so that's basically the beginning of time as far as I'm concerned. And producing rice is a historical job that happens way before the Industrial Revolution. Rice back in the day was not produced in a regulated factory, so it is literally dirty. That is the main reason why when I was young, my mom can wash out some bugs and dust in the rice and some, I don't know what is that, just some little black dots, you know? Another thing is that the rice that we purchase nowadays in the US are all in sealed plastic bags, but traditionally, rice is normally sold in a large quantity in a fabric sacks. And not only make it exposed to air, but also some small bugs and even bird and rats can get in easily. The act of washing not only removes the contaminations, but also for general hygiene. And in many parts of the world, this is still an ongoing issue, so washing rice to them is absolutely necessary. But the rice we got in the sealed bag is very clean in most of the highly developed countries. As a result, washing rice is never as common in the West anymore. Does washed rice taste better? We always hear people arguing about if we should wash our white rice or not, but it seems like we all agree that we don't need to wash brown rice. And now you know the structure of a rice, now we can talk about why you should only wash your white rice but never the brown ones. The difference between white rice and brown rice is with or without the bran. The rice bran contains significant quantities of starch, protein, vitamins, and dietary minerals. The protein, vitamins, and minerals are the reason why brown rice is more nutritional. But after you remove the outer coat by milling, turning the bran into powder that you can later sift or blow away most of them, and we call this leftover powder residue on rice the free starch. And the main reason why we still wash our rice nowadays, even though we have a clean access to rice, is because of these free starch. And since these free starch is caused by milling down the bran, brown rice do not have the same problem. When unwashed rice come in contact with water during cooking, these free starch will absorb water, swell, and create a gooey texture on the surface of the rice. Now for that reason, is exactly why you're supposed to wash your rice 9 out of 10 times, besides you're doing some special recipe. You should always wash your rice, especially if you're making a steamed rice, fried rice, or any relatively drier recipe that you don't want that smooshy and gooey texture on your rice. Washing off the free starch will make the rice softer and more fluffy, and the grains will separate from each other and create a more successful bowl of white rice. Another reason you should wash your rice is if your rice is old. Have you ever checked the expiration date of your white rice? Probably not, because we all think that grain can be stored at home for a very long time, so we never consider it's gonna expire. But the real deal is, if you bought it sealed, you can save it at home for a very long time, but as soon as you open them, it starts oxidate. It doesn't necessarily mean it's unsafe to eat, but remember, free starch is not only starch. There are also lipid residue from the bran and germ. Bran and germ are rich in polyunsaturated fats, and the unsaturated fat can go rancid when it being exposed to air for too long. The oxidated lipids residue creates an unpleasant smell and taste to the rice, but you can get rid of it just simply by washing your rice before cooking. Why doesn't the producer get rid of all these lipids? Because getting rid of all of the lipids on rice, you have to grind up almost 50% of the product, which they sell to us by weight. So that's definitely too much to ask, isn't it? And since lipid is stored in bran, that also causes brown rice spoil faster than the white rice. Now we learned the argument of why you should probably wash your rice before cooking. Let's listen to the other side of the story. Why, or we'll say, what circumstances should you not wash your rice? There are two main reasons why people don't wash their rice, and we'll break it down one by one. First, washing rice will wash off most of the nutrition value of the rice. This will depend on what type of rice you buy. If you take a close look, most of the American-produced white rice that we can get in the US has been fortified, just like the flour we talked about before. The way they do it is just to spray the mineral and vitamins on the surface of the rice, so that basically means this dust of nutrition will be mixing with the free starch in our rice. If you wash away the free starch, you might wash away these enrichment as well. So if you're relying your nutrition on these fortified white rice, maybe don't wash it. But if you ask me, I'd rather wash off these free starch and nutrition and take these nutrition and supplements from other whole food. It's not that hard. The second argument of not washing a white rice and make more sense to me is that if you're making a dish that relies on these free starch. Let's say if you're making paella from Spain or risotto from Italy, as well as porridge from China. These dishes do rely on free starch to create that almost sticky texture of the dish. And that will be the time that you might not want to wash off these free starch, especially if you live in a country that you have access to clean, sealed, fresh rice. But if your rice is old or you got your rice in bulk, which might be shipped by sack, or you live in a country that the rice is literally dirty, I'll still recommend you to wash your rice and then add some starch back while you're cooking, such as cornstarch or tapioca starch. Just a little bit, they will all have the same effect. Because you never really know who or what have put their claws in one of those sack bags. Like, ew. Thank you for watching till the end. Let me know if you like this recipe by giving this video a thumbs up. It's only gonna take you a second, but it means a lot to me. I make video on YouTube every Monday and Thursday, so remember to hit that bell and you'll never miss out. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe on my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!